no time today, baby. We back in it. Let's see what old Marduk talking about. Mod Squad God, get ready, baby. We removing people today. We only want to keep the folks that's supposed to be in here today, Mod Squad God. We're going to be removing some people today. We got a goal up top. We got the goat up top for the gifts. All right. If you're gonna be hanging out with us, if you want to get the information, all we ask is that you show some love throughout the live. Okay. Hit up the goats. Hit up the gifted goats. Show some love with that. If not, you know, I'm gonna move you on to another live. I'm gonna let you go find you another live stream to be in. All right. So that's what we gonna do. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, gang. So here we are. All right, we're gonna start with the commemoration of the Sphinx. Okay, so yesterday we covered the building of the pyramids. They had a ceremony to celebrate the building of the artificial peaks, the so-called artificial peaks. And then it was at this ceremony that Enki commissioned that a statue be built to honor the architect of what we call the Giza complex. All right? Enki commissioned that monument be built to honor the architect of the Giza complex. And the architect of the Giza complex was none other than Ningazita, who we know as Thoth. Okay, we know him as Thoth. His real name was Ningazita. All right. During the first Shar after the deluge, the Anunnaki created a new place of the chariots, the original site having been destroyed by flood waters. The new site will exist on lands drained by the Nile River, in which many centuries later will be known as Egypt. Do y'all understand that? So that was a spaceport. That's the first thing y'all need to realize about the pyramids. The pyramids was the new place, a new spaceport, a place to land the chariots, okay? The old place, the old spaceport was underwater from the deluge. So they built the Giza complex to be the new place of the chariots. Because the lands are flat and no natural features exist to be used as landing guide points, the Anunnaki created two peaks by constructing four-sided pyramid-shaped structures. They are designed by Ningazita, which I just told y'all. The largest of the two structures were given the name the Eker. Okay, the larger of the two structures was given the name the Eker. So the one we call Khafre, all right, the one that we call Khafre is the one that they call the Eker. They said it is a house which is like a mountain. The inside the Eker are chambers and galleries in which crystals from Nibiru are stored. Okay? The crystals will be used to shine as a beacon to incoming spacecraft. Between the two pyramids as a monument to the architect, Ningazita is constructed. Between the two pyramids, a monument to the architect Ningazita is constructed. This is the Sphinx. Since the structures are created during the age of the lion, according to Nephilim tradition, the monument is fashioned in the image of the beast, but with the head of Ningazita himself. All right, y'all heard that? It had the head of Ningazita himself. All right, so let's begin. Let's begin. By these words of Marduk, Ningazita was angered. Okay, so let me stop right there and let y'all know what they talking about. When they say, by these words of Marduk, Ningazita was angered. Y'all remember yesterday, Marduk was complaining to Enki that he felt like he had been looked over. Okay, he felt like he had been looked over. He felt like others were receiving allotments and monuments and things of this nature, and he was being looked over. So he felt like, he just kind of, was a little jealous. He was a little jealous, all right? By these words of Marduk, Ningazita was angered. The other sons were also annoyed. By the clamor for domains, Ninurta and his brothers were also aroused. Lands for themselves and devoted earthlings, everyone was demanding. Okay, so now check this out. So remember where I told y'all guys, now we're dealing with the sons of Enki and Enlil. Enlil has 3 sons. Enki has about 5 sons, Anunnaki sons. Now I'm not talking about his human sons. He got a bunch of human sons. But he's got about 5 Anunnaki sons, okay? And everyone is saying, hey, I want my land too. I want my region. Everybody's arguing. Now it's causing a big bickering amongst the boys, amongst the sons. All right? Let not the celebration become a contest, Ninmah said. The earth is still in havoc. We Anunnaki are few. Of the earthlings, there are only a few survivors. Okay, so this is Ninmah coming in, telling everybody, calm down. This is Ninmah coming in as peacemaker, telling everybody to calm down, guys. Y'all getting too carried away. All right, we still got a lot of work to do. The earth still needs a lot of rebuilding. We don't have a lot of earthlings. Okay, let Marduk not deprive Ningazita of the honor. Let us also take heed to Marduk's words. So did Ninmah the peacemaker to the contending leaders say. For peace to prevail, the habitable lands between us should be set apart. Enlil to Enki said. To make the peninsula an uncontested divider, they agreed. Okay, so let me explain to y'all what's going on right now. Since everybody is bickering and complaining about land, everybody wants their own section, their own land, right? Enki, Enlil, and Ninmah decides that this is exactly what needs to happen. We need to chop up the habitable regions of what's left. We need to chop it up, and we need to assign regions to each of the lead Anunnaki, okay? So I'm going to pull up a map right quick, and I'm going to show you exactly what's going on. All right. Here we go. So check this map out, gang. All right. Oh, you know what? I need to switch. Let me do something right quick. Let me do this. And then let me pull the map up like this. All right, gang. This is a map of Africa. This is all Africa. I'm going to keep telling y'all this. This is a map of Africa. There's no Middle East. There's no such thing as the Middle East. White folks made that up, guys. Don't keep letting it, and it's a reason they made that up. Guys, they try to do everything in their power to keep Africa from being seen as a great landmass. It's a great, huge landmass, okay? So this is all Africa, even what they call Mesopotamia. That's the greater Africa. That's greater North Africa, all right? So when you look at this map, guys, this is where everything began at, all right? So when the Anunnaki landed, they tell us that they landed in the Persian Gulf region. Okay, that's just to the west of here, just to the west of there, right? In the Persian Gulf region is where they landed. Now that whole Persian Gulf region is now underwater due to the Great Flood. Okay, so they no longer couldn't use that part of the region. So they had to use the habitable lands. When they say we need to chop up the habitable lands, they're talking about these lands right over here where we. In this area what we call Canaan and Saudi Arabia, in the Arabian desert and things of this nature, okay? So this is what they're about to do. They're about to make allotments out of greater North Africa in lower Africa, in the Abzu, okay? So we finna see them split up these land masses to fathers and their sons, okay? Pay attention. For peace to prevail, the habitable lands between us should be set apart, Enlil said to Enki, okay? The habitable lands between us should be set apart. To make the peninsula an uncontested divider, they agreed. So this is the peninsula. Y'all see this right here? This is called the Arabian Peninsula. Everybody can see where my finger is at? Let me go right. It's hard to see. Y'all see where my finger is at? This jutting of this land, okay? This is the Arabian Peninsula. They said that that piece of land would be the divider. That would be the uncontested divider. Right here, the Arabian Peninsula. Everybody can see that? Right here to the right of Cairo. Right here below where it says Israel. Right below where it says Israel. That's the Arabian Peninsula, all right? So that is going to be the uncontested divider of the lands in this region from the lands in the lower African region. Tilmoon is what they call this peninsula. They called it Tilmoon. I hope y'all taking notes, man, because we're going to have a little test coming up in this semester, all right? We're going to have a little test coming up, so make sure you're taking notes. The Arabian Peninsula was the uncontested divider. They called it Tilmoon, T-I-L-M-U-N. Tilmoon means land of the missiles. Listen to that. Land of the missiles. Okay, so it's where they kept their artillery at. It's where they kept their weaponry at. Tilmoon, land of the missiles. To earthlings, it was beyond bounds. All right? To the earthlings, it was off limits. I need y'all to take note of that. This is Tilmoon, the Arabian Peninsula. And to the earthlings, it was off limits. Okay? Only the Anunnaki were permitted to be in that region. It's important that you know that. Make sure you write that down. Only the Anunnaki were permitted to be in this region. Make sure you write that down. Tilmoon, land of the missiles. The habitable lands to the east thereof, to Enlil and his offsprings were set apart. The habitable lands to the east of Tilmoon was given to Enlil and his offspring. Everybody understand that? Give me some fives in the chat if you understand that. Everything to the east was given to Enlil and his offspring. Okay? So this region, this what we call the Middle East region, was given to Enlil and his sons. Okay? Now, Enlil was basically the king of this mission. He was basically the supervisor, the overseer. So they called this the first region. All right? The Middle East region was given to Enlil and his sons. So in this region, you're going to have Nanar as a god. You're going to have Ninurta as a god. And you're going to have Enlil as a god. Enlil is the god Yahweh. Okay? That's the god of Judaism. Enlil is the god Yahweh. Nanar is the moon god. Nanar is the god Allah. Okay, that's the moon god. All right. But this land to the east was given to Enlil and his kids. All right. Let's keep going. For the descendants of the two sons of Sesudra, Shem and Japhet, I'm going to read that one more time. Exactly. Good job, Yolanda. And peace and love. Shout out to Sister Yolanda in the building. Yes, Enlil and his offspring was given basically what we call the Middle East, which is the east of Tilmoon. See, this is the divider. This Arabian Peninsula is the divider. And the Arabian Peninsula is off limits to humans. This information is important, guys, because when it's time for these biblical battles to go down, this is going to be very important information when we start covering these biblical battles, okay? Because that's what we're heading into. We're heading into the biblical era right? We've already done the pre-flood era. We already covered the deluge, right? Now we're starting to head into the biblical era, the biblical battles, the battles of the battle of Jericho, the different, just the different biblical battles. We're about to get ready to be covering this stuff. So anyway, for the descendants of the two sons of Seasudra, Shem and Japhet, therein to dwell. Okay, so let me show y'all what's going on. Y'all remember the survival of the flood in this region was Noah, Seasudra. I'll say Noah because I know that's the name y'all recognize. But his real name was Seasudra, all right? Noah and his family was basically the new royal bloodline. Everybody understand that? Noah and his family became the new royal bloodline amongst humans. Okay? So Noah and his sons was given dominion over the earth. Now, this is amongst the humans, okay? So his two sons, Shem and Japhet, of three, he got three sons now. Y'all remember that, right? Now, remember what I told y'all about the letter J? Remember I told y'all there wasn't no letter J in existence back in these times? The letter J is something that was created in 1524. Listen to how they pronounce his name. In the Bible, we say Japhet. We call the dude Japhet. But when you go into the ancient texts, they refer to him as Japhet with a Y. The same way they don't call Jesus, Jesus. And I got something else to tell y'all about that name. I'm telling y'all, I got some stuff I'm going to lay on y'all when we get to the class of Yeshua. I got some stuff I'm going to lay on y'all. But just like I told y'all about the name Jesus and the letter J was not around. So for the descendants of the two sons of Seasudra, Shem and Japhet, they will dwell in this region. Everybody understand that? This is where we get the term Shemites or Shemitic. You hear these people come around talking about they Semitic people. Semitic is not the word. Shemitic. Because his name was Shem. So if you was a descendant of Shem, you was a Shemite. And if you wanted to create a religion out of that, it would be Shemitic. Okay? So in this region, Shem and Japhet amongst the humans would dwell in this region, in Enlil's region. Enlil, Nanar, and Anerta. They all dwell in the Middle East region. Okay, so let's move on. The dark-hued landmass that included the Abzu to Enki and his clan was granted for domains. Okay, so now we're talking about what we call Africa, what we call Lower Africa, right? Everything from Egypt on down. It was given to Enki and his clans, Enki and his sons, okay? So this would be the land of Ham. Now remember, Shem and Japhet was given this region, which is the Middle East. So you remember they still got another son named Ham. This is why they always associate Ham with the African region, right? All of these people was black. Now let me tell y'all something. They told y'all that Ham was black because he had a curse on him. Ain't that what they told us? Give me some sevens in the chat if you ever heard that before. They said that Ham was black. Come on now, let's look at that for a minute. Let me show you how these people be fooling. How these people be playing. Give me some sevens in the chat. You done heard that before? They said that Ham was black because he was cursed. So you mean to tell me Noah had two Arab sons, and all of a sudden one of them got cursed and got turned into a nigga? Man, these crackers need to stop playing, man. Man, these crackers so funny. Lord have mercy. If you believe them, you're going to be Boo-Boo the Fool. If you listen to them, you're going to be Boo-Boo the Fool. Yeah, the Mormons definitely gonna tell you. Yeah, the Mormons. Man, I seen a black woman. I was watching a show the other day, and this black woman was a part of the Mormon church. I say, look at that lost soul. Oh, she just a lost little sheep. It was sad to see. But like I say, guys, Noah was a black man. He was an albino, but he had Negroid. He had a Negroid phenotype. Okay. His sons were black men. Shem and Yafet. These were black men. This entire region was black people. I keep trying to educate y'all that the people y'all call Arabs, y'all need to do that. Y'all think that the Arabs was in that region from the beginning. They wasn't. Okay, facts. Yeah, man, these people was black, man. These was black folks, man. You know what I mean? And so you're letting these folks tell y'all, they keep trying to, even when we had a discussion about Yeshua, right? They'll tell you Yeshua was everything but black. Oh, you know, he was Middle Eastern. He was Arab. He had olive skin. They will go through every level to tell you he everything else but black. He white. He Arab. He Greek. They gonna tell you everything else. Brother, he was all black folks in this region. This was all black folks. You don't even know no Arabs with them kind of names. Yeshua. There ain't no Arabs got that kind of name. I keep trying to tell y'all, man, I gave y'all the Arab history. I showed y'all where Arabs from the Caucasus. The Caucasus is right above Iran. In the mountains. They come from them mountains. They are the real Caucasian, the real white Caucasians that everybody talking about. It was the fucking Arab people. We call them Arab, though. Y'all think the redneck white boy from America is from the Caucasus. He is not from the Caucasus. It's the Arab, the Turks. Okay, those are the people that the Bible called the Hyksos. Y'all ever heard the Bible when they talk about the Hyksos, the Hyskos? Them people migrated down into these regions. Okay, they were war people. They were barbarians. They migrated down into a region of blackness and they integrated into a region of blackness. This is a part of what I try to teach my folk, man. Y'all need to learn the truth. So no, Ham wasn't black from a curse. And the curse wasn't even on Ham. The curse was on Canaan. See what I'm saying? Ham wasn't even cursed. That's another thing y'all gonna learn. It was Canaan who was cursed. Okay? Canaan was cursed because he crossed over into his brother's land. So the curse was put on the line of Canaan. We're going to get to all that, though. Like I told y'all, man, with the mission that I'm on, guys, I think that the black church has to be rebooted. The black church needs to be rebooted. It's a lot of good things that's good about the black church, but the information is not accurate. The direction of the black church is not accurate. The leadership is not solid. So many things need to be changed. I think church is a good thing. I think it's a lot of great things that can come out of the black church. I think we already got a collective economic system in place. We just need the funds to go to the right places. The problem is all the funds is going to the goddamn pastor's pocket. It's going into him buying Cadillacs. It's going into him buying bigger houses. All right. So that's my mission, is to teach the truth. I'm going to teach y'all the truth about this religion, and we're going to straighten the black church out. That's the mission, baby. If you with me, stay with me. So let's get back to it. All right. Everybody understand what's going on? Till Moon is the uncontested divider. It splits the first region from the second region. The first region is the Middle East region given to Enlil and his sons. And for the human representation, it was given to Shem and Yafet and their descendants. Okay? So any children that Shem and Yafet have will call that region home. Ham was given the region, the Lower Abzu was given Lower Africa. Okay? Ham was given the, hey, this is a class. We ain't interested in what y'all talking about down there. This is a class. So if you're not in my class, go and remove yourself. Go and find you another live to hang out in. We're not interested in what y'all talking about. Okay? These folks signed up for these class. These folks paid for this class to hear me disseminate this information. We don't know what the hell y'all talking about down here in the chat. We're not interested in that. Okay? Find you another live to hang out in. This is a class. This is for members only. It said at the beginning, it say Sumerian tablet reading for members. If you're not a member, go find you another live to hang out in. This ain't one of them spaces. We're not looking for a bunch of people to be in here. Only the people that's supposed to be. All right? So here, let's get back to it. Shem and Yafet in this region. Ham is in this region. Okay? The Teal Moon is what they call the Arabian Peninsula. The Arabian Peninsula was the uncontested divider. It divides the first region from the second region. Everybody understand that? I'm going to move on. The people of Seasudra's middle son, Ham, to inhabit these lands were chosen. To make Marduk their lord of their lands, the master, Enki to his son, Enki to appease his son suggested. Listen to that. I want y'all to pay attention to that. Listen to that. In this region, in the Egypt region, to make Marduk their lord of their land, the master, Enki to appease his son suggested. Okay? This is how Amun-Ra became the god of that region. This is how Amun-Ra became the god of that region. I hope y'all taking notes. This is how Amun-Ra became the god of this region, okay? In Teal-Moon, in its mountainous south, an abode for Ninmah, his mother, Ninurta, built. Near a spring with date trees, a verdant valley, it was located. The mountain peak Ninurta terraced, a fragrant garden for Ninmah he planted. Okay, I want y'all to listen to this. Check this out. So Ninurta, son of Enlil, has decided to build his mom. Let me read this one more time so we understand. He decided to build for his mom a fragrant garden. This wasn't just any garden. What's up, Sin? Sin Breezy in the house. Peace and love, my sister. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Y'all know I love when Sin in the house. Much love. So check it out. He decided to build for his mom a fragrant garden. But this wasn't just any garden. This wasn't any. Have y'all ever heard about the hanging gardens of Babylon? Give me some 8s in the chat if you've ever heard of the hanging gardens of Babylon. It's one of the wonders of the world. Glad to have you, my love, for real. Straight up. Glad to have you. Have y'all give me some 8s in the chat if you're familiar with the hanging gardens of Babylon. So this is what this garden that Ninurta built for his mom. This was the hanging gardens of Babylon, all right? If you don't know anything about it, do your research tonight. When all was thus completed, a signal to all on earth was given. A signal to all outposts on earth was given. From the mountain lands across the ocean, whirlwinds brought the golden nuggets. From the place of the celestial chariots to Nibiru, the gold was lofted. Okay, so this is the logistics of what they're doing. They're bringing gold from America to the Giza complex, and from Giza is being lofted back to Nibiru. Okay? On that memorable day, Enlil and Enki to each other said and agreed, let us, Ninmah, the peacemaker, with a new epithet, honor. Let's call her Ninhursag, mistress of the mountainhead. Let us name her. So if you remember, the Anunnaki is big on celestial names or nicknames. We call them nicknames. They call them celestial names, okay? So when they want to give you another title, if they want to bestow some kind of honor on you, if you achieve something or you accomplish something, they will bestow a new name on you, a name with meaning. Okay? So because Ninmah was the peacemaker, she was the reason why they was able to have some peace, because she gave them the idea about splitting up the regions. They say that they wanted to honor her with a new name. Let us, Ninmah, the peacemaker, with a new name, honor. And they called her Ninharsag. Okay? So now she has what? She has 3 names. Ninmah, the peacemaker, and Ninharsag. Okay, so those are 3 of her names. Ninmah, the peacemaker, or Ninharsag. Enki has a few names. Enki was known as Ea, Enki, and I think it was another one as well. Okay? So a lot of these Anunnaki, they got multiple names, all right? And all the names have some form of meaning. By acclamation was Ninmah given the honor. Henceforth, Ninhursag she was called. Praise to Ninhursag on earth be the peacemaker. In unison, the Anunnaki proclaimed. Oh yeah, Dagon. Shout out to Leo, man. Right-hand man is in the building. Yeah. Ea, Enki, and Dagon. All right? Those are the 3 names for Enki. Okay? Big shout out to Leo. Hey, these folks game tight, man. My foundational people, they game tight. They can teach the class, man. I can step away and let them teach it. I'm trying to tell you now. Love it. I love it. Let's keep going, baby. Let's keep going. Praise to Ninhursag on earth, the peacemaker. In unison, the Anunnaki proclaimed. During the first Shar after the deluge, Ninhursag, to cool down tempers, she managed to cool down everybody's temper. Nibiru, with gold to resupply, was the ambitions, and rivalries paramount. Okay, so now here we go. We got the mission going again. Now they can get the gold going back to Nibiru. Got to get the gold to Nibiru. Slowly, the earth to teem with life returned, with the seeds of life by Enki preserved. What by itself survived was augmented on land and in the air and waters. Most precious of all, the Anunnaki discovered were mankind's own remnants. As in bygone days when the primitive workers were created, the Anunnaki, a few in strain for civilized workers, now clamored. By the time the first Shar after the deluge was completed, the peaceful truce and by an unexpected occurrence was shattered. Not between Marduk and Inerta, not between the Enki and Enlil clans was the eruption. When Marduk's own sons by the Igigi abetted, tranquility was broken. All right, here we go. Let me read this over. As in bygone days when the primitive workers were created, the Anunnaki, few and strained for civilized workers, now clamored. Okay, so you got to remember, without the humans, all the humans got washed away in the flood. There's only a few humans left. So they over there working Noah and his wife overtime. They over there telling Noah, you gotta whip it. You gotta beat it, Noah. So they working Noah and his wife overtime. They working Shem and Yafet overtime. Hey man, y'all gotta pump out some kids. Get them damn kids pumped out. So they clamoring for new workers. By the time the first Shar after the deluge was completed, the peaceful truce, all right, they had a little truce. Okay, y'all remember, after the ceremony, everybody was fighting. Everybody remember that? After the ceremony, all of the sons was fighting each other over land. Okay? That's when Ninhursag came in and made peace. Everybody understand that? Ninhursag came in and she made peace. She said, hey, we're going to split the land up. Everybody going to get a piece of land. Okay? So it was a little truce. Everything was cool. Everybody was getting along. But then the peaceful truce, by an unexpected occurrence, was shattered. So let's talk about what happened to shatter the peace. All right, here we go. This is important information coming up. Let's get it. Not between Marduk and Ninurta, not between the Enkian and Enlil clans was the eruption. When Marduk's own sons by the Igigi abetted, was tranquility broken. Now y'all remember Marduk got 2 sons. I know y'all might not remember because we covered this almost a month ago. Marduk has 2 sons. Okay? One of his sons is named Asar. You may know him as Osiris. The real name is Asar. Osiris is the Greek name that the whites gave him, okay? All them Greek names, them white boy names, okay? Let's go by the real name. The real name is Asar, okay? So that's Osiris. His other son was Satu. That is the guy we know as Seth. Oh, Seth, oh, Seth, oh, Seth. Y'all know about Seth and Osiris, right? Give me some 9s in the chat if you're familiar with Seth and Osiris. Now I like this part of the story because I'm finna give y'all some real game here, bro. We're finna get some real game in this part of it, all right? Seth and Osiris were the sons of Marduk. Okay. Now y'all know all these Anunnaki got multiple names, okay? Marduk is Marduk. He's also known as Amun-Ra. This would be the guy that you would go on to know as the god of Egypt, Amun-Ra. So Marduk, Amun-Ra, those are the same people. Okay? Amun-Ra had 2 sons, Osiris and Seth. Amun-Ra was the god of Egypt, right? So now it makes sense why Osiris was called the god of Egypt. Okay? Because when he inherited that from his father, he became a god of Egypt, so to speak. Y'all understand that now? Now that makes sense to y'all? Because, you know, they taught you a lot about Osiris, but they taught you that Osiris was a god, like he was the creator of all or something. No, he was a man. He was somebody's son. And they were called gods. These people were not gods. They were called gods. Later by primitive humans. Okay? So Amun-Ra had 2 sons, or Marduk had 2 sons, Osiris and Seth, okay? Now, in this story of Osiris and Seth, guys, is where we get the biblical story of God and Satan. Write that down because I'm going to expound it. I'm going to tell y'all one more time. Listen to me. The story you got about God and Satan comes from this event. This event between Osiris and Seth. I'm going to break it down to you guys, okay? Give me just a second. So let's get into it. Now think about what I'm finna break down right here. Now, I just told you the story of Osiris and Seth is where the story of God and Satan comes from. Because what I want y'all to know about religion, guys, religion is one big ball of confusion. What I've been able to do in here is I've been able to teach the religious story in accuracy, right? But the version that y'all got is all out of sorts. Let me give you an example. Yesterday, we were talking about Adamu, right? And I told y'all that Adamu was the first people. But Adamu is not who you're reading about in the Bible, okay? So Adamu is from the first line of Homo sapiens, right? They was uncivilized, right? So the Anunnaki had to create another line. A more civilized line of humans. Those was the second line of Homo sapiens. That second line of Homo sapiens, the first man was named Adapa and the girl was named Titi. Okay? So Adapa and Titi is your biblical Adam and Eve. All right? Now, in the Bible, you don't read the name Adapa. You don't read the name Adapa in the Bible. You read the name Adamu. Because it's all mixed up. They got all the information is mixed up. Y'all got to remember that the Bible comes from this. This is what I keep trying to explain to folks. This Bible is a translation, is a bad translation of this information. Everything starts here. There is no other tablets we have before the Sumerian tablets. We don't know of no other writing system before the Sumerian writing system. It all starts here. Okay? So what you're dealing with in religion, guys, you're dealing with misinterpretation of the information. This is why all of these stories are told out of whack. All right? So everything that you learn about a religion, guys, it comes from older story. The story of Jesus, right? The story of Jesus being a virgin birth. That's a story that comes from ancient Egypt. That ain't original to the guy that y'all. That Jesus is a version that they made of Yeshua. Jesus is a character of Yeshua. Okay, he's the white Roman character of Yeshua. That's what I want y'all to learn, okay? And so when you hear that story about the virgin birth, that is not original to him, okay? The original of that story comes from the story of Horus. So I want y'all to understand that don't let these people treat Egypt or ancient Egypt as if it's just one big myth. See, these Bible people, these religious people, they love to act like ancient Egypt ain't got no bearing on religious information. Do y'all understand that? Give me some fives in the chat if you understand what I just said. They treat ancient Egypt like it ain't got no bearing on the biblical context. And that's bullshit. All of it come from ancient Egypt. All of it come from Babylon. That's why I be telling folks, if you ain't studied them ancient civilizations, you ain't gonna understand nothing about religion. You ain't gonna understand nothing about that time period. You gotta go and study the ancient civilizations, because all of this stuff come from there. Easter, the celebration of Easter comes from Babylon. That's the celebration of Ishtar. Okay, I talk all about that. I ain't gonna get into it today, but that comes from the deity Ishtar, okay? That comes from Babylon. So the story of Jesus and this concept of the virgin birth, that comes from Horus. Horus was the virgin. We finna get into all of that. I'm finna show y'all how all of this works before we move forward, okay? So I told y'all the story of Osiris and Seth is the story of Satan and God. Okay, so let me break that down. Let me show y'all how that works. Everybody know that in the stories of Seth, Osiris, and Isis is that Seth kills his brother Osiris, chops his body up, dismembers his body, right? And the way the story goes is Isis puts his body back together miraculously puts his body back together and is able to get impregnated from his dead phallus. This was considered the Immaculate Conception. How was she able to bring forth life from a dead body? Osiris was considered God during the time he was alive. He was called the god of Egypt. You understand? But he was not a god. This was an Anunnaki man. The humans saw them as gods. Don't forget that. They were only called gods because the early primitive humans were taught that they were gods, that they were lords. Okay? Humans had no choice but to worship him. Humans ain't know nothing outside of that. So when he was killed by his brother, which apparently he wasn't no god if he could get killed by his brother, but when he was unalived by his brother, Isis was able to procreate with his dead phallus. So in jest, she was able to bring forth life from the spirit world, right? From a spirit, okay? Same concept with Jesus. God coming down into Mary and Mary being pregnant and birthing Jesus. It's the same thing. It's the Immaculate Conception all over again. And so when Horus was born, because Osiris was already considered God, Horus was called the son of God. Everybody understand that? Horus was called the son of God. And still to this day, people are fully engaged in Horus worship. Now let me show y'all something else. Y'all think I'm done? I'm not done. Horus and Jesus, same thing. It's the same story. It's the same story. Watch this. In those times in ancient Egypt, they didn't have lunar month. They didn't have months the way we have them. They didn't have January, February, March, April, May. The months didn't carry those names. Time was divided by the zodiac. Everybody understand that? In ancient Egypt, time was divided by the zodiac. Okay? So you didn't have January, February, March. You had Aries, Pisces, Scorpio, so forth. Okay? To represent the months. All right? So you know what months represent what? We know Aries is in the springtime. Right? We know what months represent what, right? So during the time of Horus, Horus was born during the time of Capricorn. Okay, everybody following me? Horus was born during the period of Capricorn. The period of Capricorn begins December 23rd. Horus was born on December 25th. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Go check it out. Go Google that. When was the Egyptian god Horus born? They're going to tell you during Capricorn. Then look up the dates of Capricorn. The dates of Capricorn, and Capricorn starts in starts in December 23rd. His direct birth date was December 25th. Sound familiar? So you got Horus, who was a virgin birth, or born of the Immaculate Conception. Let's just say that. Let's they threw the virgin thing in there later. It was all about the Immaculate Conception. You got Horus, who was an Immaculate Conception. You got Horus, whose father really was considered a god, right? You got Horus, who was considered the son of God. And you got Horus still being worshipped today. If you've ever seen them people in Hollywood putting them O's over their eyes like that, that's Horus worship. Okay? Now, this is when they was worshiping people like Horus, Osiris. Later, when Judaism came around, they called they called everything that was from ancient Egypt paganistic. So if you was worshiping Osiris, if you was worshiping Horus, they called that paganistic. Okay? So this is where we get the idea of pagan, when they call the holidays pagan, because celebrating December 25th is celebrating the birth of Horus. This is why they call it pagan, a pagan holiday. When you're celebrating Easter, you're celebrating a pagan holiday. It comes from Babylon. It comes from Ishtar. That's a pagan holiday. So when by the time Christianity came around, they denounced all of that stuff. Okay? I'm gonna break some more of this down. I got some classes coming up where I'm gonna break this stuff down some more. So this is where you get this idea from, guys, where you get this whole concept of God, the devil, the son of God. This all comes from this episode dealing with Horus, dealing with Osiris, Isis, and Seth. Okay? So we're gonna break this down. We're gonna break this down a little bit more as we go along. All right? So let's get back to the tablets. The peaceful truce by an unexpected occurrence was shattered. Not between Marduk and the Nerta, not between Enki and the Enlil clans was the eruption. When Marduk's own sons by the Igigi abetted, was tranquility broken. When Marduk and Sapanian and their sons and daughters on Mars outweighted the deluge, the two sons, Asar and Sautu, took a liking to the daughters of Shamgaz, the Igigi leader. Okay? Here we go. So they say, y'all remember when the deluge was going on? When the deluge was taking place, Marduk went to hide out on Mars. Okay? That's why they call it Mars today. It's named after Marduk. Okay? The original name, it was a Nibiru name. It was called Lahamu. Marduk changed the name of it to represent him, Mars. Okay? So anyway, when everybody else was deciding where they was going to go to wait out the deluge, Marduk, his wife Sarpanian, and his 2 sons decided to wait it out on Mars. They invited Shamgaz, which was an Igigi. Y'all remember who the Igigi is, right? The Igigi are the reptilians. Those are the reptilian workers. Anybody understand that? The Igigi are the reptilian workers. Okay? So the Igigi, Marduk invited Shamgaz and his 2 daughters to come with them to Mars to wait out the deluge. So, you know what happened when you got all them young folks together. You got Marduk and his sons, and you got Shamgaz and his daughters. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. So Marduk, so Osiris or Asar and Satu took a liking to Shamgaz's daughter. When they returned to Earth, the 2 brothers espoused the 2 sisters. Asar chose the one they called Asta. That would be Isis, okay? Her African name was Asta. Isis is the Greek name. The Greeks came along later and changed the names of these people, okay? So Asta and Isis is the same people. Satu chose the one called Nebat, okay? If you know anything about the Egyptian pantheon of gods, Nebat would be the woman that they call Nut. Okay, so if you are familiar with the Egyptian pantheon of gods, Nebat is the one that they call Nut. All right, and she was a nut. That's probably why they call her Nut. She was absolutely nuts. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Asar, with his father Marduk in the dark-hued lands, chose to live. Satu, nearing the landing place where the Igigi dwelt, where Shamgaz made his dwelling. All right, so let me put the map back up here. All right, so this would be Osiris's land here in Egypt, okay? And Seth had land up here, okay? Right up here towards Syria. All right, so Seth went to live in that region near the landing place, where the Baalbek, near Baalbek. Okay, that's basically where they would set up shop at. The Igigi had a stronghold in Baalbek at the landing place. So Seth was up there with them. All right, so just remember, Osiris and Seth are married to daughters of Igigi. Okay, one is Asta, one is Nebat. Satu, near the landing place where the Igigi dwelt, with Shamgaz he made his dwelling. About the domains on earth was Shamgaz concerned. Where shall the Igigi be the masters? So did Shamgaz incite the other Igigi. Of that, Nebat to Satu spoke daily. Okay? So this is Shamgaz, right? Just imagine, watch this. Imagine you come from a royal family, right? And you marry into a poor family, right? And every day your father-in-law keep asking you, hey man, when y'all gonna look out for us? When y'all gonna straighten us out? Now, my daughter done married you. Now, your people them got money. When y'all gonna look out for us? This is basically what Shamgaz was doing. Shamgaz was up there every day talking about, all right now, where my peace at? Where my peace? You done married my daughter. I need mine. All right? About the domains on earth, Shamgaz was concerned. where shall the Igigi be the masters? So did Shamgaz and other Igigis in sight. Of that, Nabat spoke to Satu daily. Now, it's already bad enough. It's already bad enough that you got Shamgaz over here worrying the shit out of Seth. Every day, like, damn, man, my father-in-law, get on my nerve. This nigga asking me about money every day. This nigga asking me about land every day. God damn, dog. My daddy rich, man. It ain't me. So not only do he got Shamgaz in his ear asking him about land, Shamgaz that made his daughter drive him crazy. So now the daughter is in his ear. The wife, his new wife, right? And every day she say, baby, I know my daddy getting on your nerves about this land. But maybe if you can go ahead and tell your daddy to give us a piece of land, we can stop talking about this every damn day. That man come to work, that man take his boots off. She talking about that land. She talking about when we supposed to be moving. Dang. Seth can't even have a cold beer. She in here talking about when we supposed to be moving. I heard Osiris got a big house. I heard he just bought a big house. When we gonna get our house? You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real. This is basically what was going on. Okay? So they in Seth's ear every day. Worrying the shit out of him. All right? By staying with his father, Asar alone shall be the successor. The further lands he will inherit. So he hurry up and shut that shit down. He hurry up and let him know, hey man, I'm not the successor. I'm the second born. I'm not the firstborn. Y'all remember what Anunnaki rules are? Firstborn is the successor to the throne. If you are secondborn, you can only succeed to the throne if what? If you are secondborn, you can only succeed to the throne if what happens? Talk to me. Who remember? We're a long way away from the Biru. Remember, we learned this when they was on the Biru. We're a long way away from the Biru. What happens? In order for a secondborn to become king, what's got to happen? What's got to happen for the secondborn to become king? Come on, Cat. Come on, Miss Kim. The firstborn got to die. The firstborn got to die. Somebody got to die. You cannot become king unless the firstborn dies. And I told y'all that's a conflict of interest. Because imagine you have a jealous ass brother. Imagine if you had a jealous ass brother and you the king, right? And your brother jealous of you. And every day he got to live with the idea that he ain't going to never be king because y'all close in age. You probably going to live just as long as he going to live. He ain't going to, if he ever get to be king, it'll goddamn be old age. So you got this jealous ass brother breathing down your neck all down to think, damn, I want to be king. I hope that nigga fall and hit his head and die so I can be king. I think I'm going to put some poison in his food so I can be king. Every day you got to deal with that jealous ass brother breathing down your neck wanting to be king. So Satu tells him, Seth tells his wife, hey, get the fuck out of my ear. This land gonna belong to my brother. He the firstborn. Leave me alone. Tell your dad to leave me alone too. By staying with his father, Asar, the successor alone shall be. The fertile lands he will inherit. How the succession in the hands of Satu alone to retain father and daughter scheme. Okay, so now they're going too far. So they can't even take no for an answer. Now they got to get their scheme on. So now Shamgaz and his daughter is working on a scheme to get the succession in the hands of Seth. Just imagine it. His father-in-law and his wife making a plan to do something to his brother so Seth can be the king of the region. Okay, here we go. On an auspicious day, they made a banquet. Igigi and Anunnaki, they invited to it. Unsuspecting, Asar to celebrate with his brother also came. Nebet, his spouse's sister, prepared the tables. Footstools she also set. She beautified herself with a lyre in hand. A song to mighty Osiris she sang. Now she going too damn far. Now she going too far. Now I told you doing too much, woman. Okay? Satuda looked over at his wife. Sit your ass down. Sit your ass down. She over here singing to Osiris. Okay? Now just imagine that. You'd have brought your brother, your wife already been covered in everything he got. Now you'd have brought your brother to this dinner and your wife all over his lap. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Osiris. Right? She all over the nigga lap, singing in the nigga lap. Satu finna put his hands on that one. Satu before him, choice roast meat cut with salted knife for him fatlings. For him fatlings, he said. Satu gonna beat her ass. He done looked over at him like Ike. He done gave her that Ike Turner. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find your ass, Tina. I'm gonna find your anime. All right, now you hear me, anime bullet? Shamgaz. Let me hold on, man. I'm laughing too much. Hold on. Let me take it back. She better sit her ass down somewhere. Satu before him, choice roast meat cut with salted knife for him, fatlings he served. Shamgaz in a large goblet, new wine to Osiris offered. An admixture he made for him. Uh-oh, here we go. Let's see what's going on. Let's read that one more time. So now you got the wife, you got Nebet all over his lap singing and shit. You got Satu over here cutting up meat. Oh, they taking care of Osiris good. I can't believe his spidey senses wasn't tingling. I would have been like, damn, why everybody being so nice to me? Shamgaz in a large goblet offered Osiris new wine. An admixture he made for him. Uh-oh, something going on, guys. So the daddy done whipped up some damn moonshine. Shamgaz. Hey, come on back here, Osiris. Come on back here. Let me see if you can put some hair on your chest. Taste this. This is going to put some hair on your chest. So the daddy done whipped up a new batch of moonshine. The daughter singing on his lap. The brother cutting up good meat. It's a good night. A large vessel, mighty to look upon with elixired wine he gave him. In good humor was Osiris. Merrily he rose and sang. With cymbals in his hand he chatted. He drunk as a motherfucker. They got my boy Osiris drunk as hell up in there. Osiris full of that yak. Then by the admixture wine he was overcome. He done fell out. He drunk on his face. With the admixture wine he was overcome. To the ground he fell down. They done slipped him a Mickey. Do y'all understand that? They done slipped him a Mickey, man. They done gave my boy a roofling. They done gave my boy a roofie. He out for the count. Now listen to this. Check this out. Here we go. Let us for a sound sleep take him. The host to the other banquet, she said, let us for a sound sleep take him. So they acting like they're going to go put him to sleep. They carried Osiris to another chamber, and then they laid him in a coffin. The coffin with tight seals they closed. Into the sea they threw it. Murder. And that is how the real Osiris was murdered. Now I want y'all to think about something. Why would Zechariah Sitchin give us a version that's different from the version we get from history? History gives us a whole nother version. That version we get from history is what happens to a story after so many years of being passed around. People embellish the story. People add on to the story. People make a new version of the story. So the version we got about his body being chopped all up and all of this shit, that's not the true version. This is the true version because it comes from the stone. I want what comes from the stone. I don't want I don't want what come from your books. I want what come from the stone. So this is the version we going with. What the stones say, baby. All right? When word of what happened to Asta reached, when word of what happened reached Asta, to Marduk's husband's father, she raised a wailing. To Marduk, her husband's father, she raised a wailing. So Asta done found out that something happened to Osiris. She can feel it. Osiris to his death in the sea depths was brutally thrown. Quickly the coffin must be found. This is Asta. This is Isis appealing to Marduk. Okay? They searched the sea for Osiris' coffin. By the shores of the dark-hued land it was found. Inside, the stiff body of Osiris lay. From his nostrils, the breath of life departed. It was too late. It was too late. He was gone. Marduk, his clothes rent. On his forehead, he put ashes. My son, Sarpanian cried. You remember his mama is Sarpanian, the human. Okay, y'all got to remember, Marduk was married to an earthling woman. Her name was Sarpanian, okay? So Osiris now was half Anunnaki, half human, okay? My son, Sarpanian cried. Great were her grief and mourning. Enki was distraught, and he wept. The curse of Cain is repeated. To his son in agony, he said. So Enki is hurt, man. Enki had to experience this all over again. Y'all got to remember, they were destroyed when Cain unalived Abel. Okay? That hurt them. This is, like I told you, this is Enki's child. This is Enki's grandchildren. I keep having to remind people of this. This is his grandchildren. Okay? So he done lost another grandson. All right? Asta to high heavens raised a wailing. To Marduk for revenge an appeal she made. Okay, so let me read that one more time. Listen to this. Asta raised a wailing to the high heavens. For revenge she made an appeal to Marduk. For revenge and an heir. So she want an heir. She want a baby too. So she done went to her father-in-law and asked her father-in-law for two things. She said, you got to give me a baby and you got to give me revenge for Osiris. Okay? Now that's the reason that she asked her father to give her a baby. Y'all got to remember, these are different times, different systems, okay? So she never had to have it. She never got a chance to bring forth life with Osiris. So she wanted to have a child that can be the heir to the throne. Because without a child, the throne is going to go to the brother. Okay? Without a son, the throne will go to Seth. So this is why she wanted a son. She wanted a son because, I mean, don't get me wrong, she wanted to be a mother, but she also wanted to stay in wealth and power. And that's what a son allowed her to do. Do y'all understand that? So now do y'all understand why it was so important for Isis to have? Now do y'all understand why Isis had to bag that thing up on that dead penis? Isis ain't let it stop. Now, I don't know how she got that thing stiff enough. I don't know what that woman got going on between her thighs that she can make a dead penis stand up stiff. But it happened. but it happened. All right? So, but this is why she wanted a son. Okay? She wanted to keep the wealth and power. She wanted to have somebody to be an heir to the throne. So she went to Marduk to appeal for this. Asta raised a wailing to the high heavens. To Marduk for revenge and an heir, she made an appeal. Satu must meet his death. By your own seed, a successor let me conceive. Okay? So she's asking Marduk, by his seed, allow her to have a successor. Let by your name, his name, be remembered, the lineage surviving. This, alas, cannot be done, Enki to Marduk and Asta said. Oh, so, hold on, let's read that one more time. This, alas, cannot be done, Enki said to Marduk and Asta. So Enki shut that down. Enki say, no, that ain't how this works. That ain't how this works. So he's finna tell her what she needs to do. Listen to this. If you want to have an heir, the brother who killed, okay, here we go. Let me read that one more time. If you are to have an heir, it must come from the brother who killed. The brother's brother must be the keeper. Ooh-wee. Now imagine that. Imagine that as a wife, your husband just been killed, and you find out if you want to have an heir to the throne, the only way you can have an heir to the throne is you got to go have sex and be impregnated by the nigga who killed the love of your life. Can you imagine that? You got to go have, the only way you can have an heir to the throne is you got to go have sex with the dude who you want to unalive. She want to kill Seth. She don't want to freak him. But Enki said that's the only way. So my girl Asta said, shit. In the spirit of my boy Clay Davis. In the spirit of Clay Davis, Asta said, oh shit. No, I'm not. Right? She would rather go and sit on the dead penis of her husband than to lay beside Seth. What they got to say about Seth? What they say about Seth? Okay? So for this, Satu must be spared. So they say, so this is Enki telling Asta that this is why we must spare Seth. By his seed and heir to Asar you must conceive. By these twists of fate, Asta was baffled, distraught. The rules to defy, she was determined. She said, hell no, I'm going to defy the rules. I'm not going along with that. Before the body of Asar was wrapped and in the shroud and in the shrine preserved, from his phallus, Asta extracted the seed of life. So maybe she didn't sit on it. Maybe she just a hand job. Maybe she gave a good hand job to my boy. A good dead hand job. And she got that baby juice out of him. All right. So she was able to get some baby juice out of him from his phallus. Asta, the life seed of Asar, extracted. With it, Asta herself made conceive. Okay. Basically like in vitro fertilization. Right. Or artificial insemination. Okay. Basically I wouldn't even say it's artificial. She inseminated herself, okay? I wouldn't even say it's artificial. She inseminated herself, okay? With it, Asta herself made conceive, an heir, an avenger to Asar to be born. To Enki and his sons, to Marduk and his brothers, Satu word delivered. The sole heir and Marduk's successor am I. Of the land of the two narrows, I will be the master. That's what you think. To Enki and his sons, to Marduk and his brothers, Seth delivered this word. The sole heir and Marduk's successor, I am. Of the land of the two narrows, I will now be the master. Okay, so let me show y'all what's going on. Y'all say Martin in the building. What's up, Martin? Peace and love. Shout out to Martin Garnett, man. Much love. Good to see you, my love. Always good to see you. All right, so check this out, gang. So now Seth, with the death of Osiris, Seth has came from up here in this region, in the Lebanon region, and he came down to Egypt, and he has proclaimed that he is the new heir to the throne. He has came down and proclaimed that this is now his region, okay? I will be the master. I will be the master of this land, Okay, this greasy, slimy ass dude. He done let his wife and his father-in-law put a battery in his back to make him slime out his brother. Y'all understand that? I'm talking in our terms. Put a 9 in the chat if you understand that. Ain't that what he did? He let his wife and his father-in-law put a battery in his back, made him slime out his own brother in order so he can rise to power. He wanted to be the powerful one. Now watch this. Now I'm finna show y'all something. Check this out. Watch me. Didn't I tell y'all that the story of God and Satan comes from this very story? That's why I be trying to teach y'all. I told y'all, man, all that shit that they taught y'all in religion is upside down. The true God ain't got nothing to do with this story. This is about the God Osiris. That's the God that y'all, that's where y'all get the terminology God from these people. Okay, the creator of all ain't got nothing to do with this. This is about Osiris the God. Okay, so when I tell y'all the story of God and Satan, let's go back, let's revisit the story of Satan and God. So we were taught that Satan coveted God's position, right? That Satan wanted to be in power. Ain't that what they told us? Give me a 7 in the chat if you agree with that. They told us that Satan wanted to be in God's position. This is what we was taught. We just always attribute this shit to some sky god. We didn't realize that it came from ancient Egypt, because it ain't till somebody go and study this shit and show it to you, you don't know it. We were told that Satan coveted God's position, that he wanted to be in God's seat. He wanted to be the all-powerful. Well, ain't that what we just seen with Set? And ain't that what we just seen with Set and Osiris? Osiris was in the the position of power. Osiris was set to be the king of this land, the god of this region. So he killed his brother so he could come and covet the position, so he could take over the position. Okay? That's where that comes from. Right? Now watch this. Let's go a step even further. The name Satan. We say Satan. That was not the original pronunciation of the name Satan. The original pronunciation of the name Satan was Set-on. S-E-T apostrophe E-N. S-E-T apostrophe E-N. Okay? Now, tomorrow, you're going to get that story. You're going to get how he became Set-on. Now, what his name was. Set-on. Now, this is where we get the name Satan from Set. Set was, and I'm going to teach y'all where the apostrophe E-N came from. Okay, that got something to do with his affiliation with the Elamites. You know, the Elamites, that's E-N-L-I-T-E-E-S. So his affiliation with the Elamites is where he get the apostrophe E-N from. So this is where we get the name Set-on from. Now let's talk about Set. Set an evil motherfucker. Just like your Satan. Come on, let's line it up. Do we got some similarities? Set is evil, just like you would think Satan would be. Any man that would strategize to kill his brother is an evil man. Okay? So watch this. Let's go a step further. Now you got the name, Set. Set-on. Sounds just like Satan. Okay? Any pronunciation we using today is going to always be a misinterpretation of an ancient pronunciation. Okay? So watch this. Now you got the name and you got the characteristics lining up. So watch this. Take another step. Set in Egypt was known as the god of chaos and confusion. Look it up tonight if you think I'm lying. Set was known as the god of chaos and confusion. Look it up if you think I'm lying. Google that tonight, okay? So the character Satan, what do we know about Satan? Is Satan not the god of chaos and confusion? Aren't we told biblically that Satan is the author of chaos and confusion? Give me some 7s in the chat if you agree. Give me some 7s in the chat if you agree. Okay, that's what we lining it up. So this is where this comes from, gang. This is where this comes from, gang. The story of God and Satan is the story of Osiris and Set. All right? Everything that they taught us comes from somewhere, God. It has an origin point. The problem is we never go back and research the origin point. We just keep accepting all this shit society giving us and just accept it without validating. You got to go back and validate it. That's what I did. Okay? So here we go. Now you know. Now you know. All right? Before the Anunnaki's council, Asta refuted the claim. Okay? So right after Seth got up and said that he is now the ruler of this region, Asta stepped up and said, not so fast. Not so fast, Mr. Postman. You are not. I am pregnant. I am pregnant. Okay? I'm starting to think the story of King Herod comes from this as well. I'm starting to see the story of King Herod comes from the whole Jesus story comes from this Horus story. Listen to this. Watch this. Tell me if this don't sound like the story of Jesus. Watch this. Before the Anunnaki's council, Asta, the claim refuted. With Osiris heir, I am with child. Okay? Among the river's bulrushes, with a child she hid. Come on, didn't Mary have to hide with Jesus? Didn't Mary have to hide with Jesus? That's what I'm telling y'all, Jesus, that Yeshua was that man's name. They stole Horus's story and they created a character of Yeshua using Horus's story. I'm going to break it all down to y'all guys. I swear to God, man. Listen to me. They took Horus worship. They turned Horus worship into Mithra worship. Y'all have heard of Mithraism? Mithraism was the religion that was in place before Christianity. Mithraism is Horus worship. Okay, Mithra is a sun god, the son of God. Okay? How many of y'all know about Mithraism? Give me some sevens in the chat if you know about Mithraism. Look that up. Mithraism. That's a religion that came after Judaism. Okay? It's the worship of Horus. Okay? They celebrate December 25th as the birth of the god Mithra. Mithra is Horus. Okay? So what happens is later down the line, Emperor Constantine, the Emperor of Rome, I got some information I'm gonna give y'all tomorrow too about Constantine. Constantine, once he rose to power, okay, it was still a lot of Christians around, okay, because Christianity was it became very popular. But it was a lot of people still worshiping Mithra, still worshiping Horus. So what happened is, as Christianity gained popularity, the pressure to be a Christian grew. So people like Constantine decided, if you can't beat them, join them. So what Constantine did was he took Christianity, he took the story of the Christ, and he instituted the worship of Mithra. Okay? So that's what we'll be trying to tell y'all, that this version of Christianity you got ain't the true version. You've been worshiping Horus the whole time. You've been worshiping Horus. You've been worshiping Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra is the what? The grandfather of Horus. When you pray the Christian prayer, you end it in Amen. On December 25th, you celebrate the birth of Jesus, which is the birth of Horus. It all comes from there, guys. Egypt is pretty important. You can't have nothing you have today in society, from law, government, science, medicine. I'm going to say this one more time. Nothing you have in society today, from law, government, medicine, science, could happen if it's not for Egypt. Egypt is the source of all of those institutions. So if Egypt is the source of all of those institutions, it's also the source of all of your biblical institutions as well. We're cooking with fish grease today. So this is how a lot of similarities with the story of King Herod and the Virgin Mary having to hide Jesus because Herod wanted to kill him. Because they say Jesus was the new king. He said he was the King of Kings, right? Among the river's bulrushes with the child she hid. The wrath of Satu she was avoiding. So Seth was out there looking for Horus, so she can kill him. Okay? So he can kill him. Horon, his real name is Horon. We say Horus. Horon, she called the boy. To be his father's avenger, she raised him. Satu by this was disconcerted. Shamgars from ambitions did not retreat. From Earthia to Earthia, the Ijiji and their offspring from the landing place spread. So remember, the Ijiji was up here in Lebanon. But every year they started spreading. They started getting closer and closer down here to Osiris's region. Y'all got to remember, Shamgars is trying to make a play for land. He's trying to have his own region. Okay? Year after year, the Ijiji and their offspring from the landing place spread. Unto the borders of Tilmoon in Hersag's sacred region, they moved closer. So here go Tilmoon, the Arabian Peninsula. So they moved closer. Now y'all know that this is offline to humans. Okay, Anunnaki can go there, but it's offline to humans. It's out of bounds to humans, okay? To overrun the place of the celestial chariots, the Ijiji and the Earthlings threaten. Okay, so now they on the attack. So now you got Shamgars done brought his crew down here, and he's threatening to overrun the Arabian Peninsula, to overrun Tilmoon. Unto the borders of Tilmoon, then Hersag's sacred region, closer they move. To overrun the place of the celestial chariots, the Ijiji and their Earthlings threaten. In the dark-hued lands, the child Horon by Earth's quick life cycles to a hero grew. Okay, so now we got Horus growing up. By his great uncle, Jibble, was Horon adopted. By him, he was trained and instructed. Jibble is one of Enki's sons, okay? So Jibble is going to tutor Horus the way Marduk tutored Abel and the way Ninurta tutored Cain. Everybody understand that? So Jibble is one of the sons of Enki. He's going to tutor and teach Horus the same way the other Anunnaki men tutored the other Earthlings, okay? For him, Jibble fashioned winged sandals for soaring. Y'all heard that? For him, Jibble fashioned winged sandals for soaring. That sounds familiar, right? We know about another character in mythology that had winged sandals. Do y'all remember another character from mythology that had winged sandals? Who know it? Put it in the chat. What other character from mythology, from Greek mythology, that we know that adorned winged sandals? Y'all got to remember that the Greeks adopted all of this information. The Greeks adopted all of this ancient Egypt information and created their own version of it. Not Zeus, my brother, not Zeus. The winged sandals. Who in Greek mythology adorned the winged sandal? Y'all remember Hermes? Do y'all remember Hermes? Shout out to Miss Kim. Miss Kim said the messenger. She was close enough. That's close enough. Shout out to Miss Kim. Yeah, Hermes. All right? Hermes wore the winged sandals, or Mercury, or they called it Mercury. From him, Jibble a divine harpoon made. Its arrows, bolts of missiles were. In the highlands of the south did Jibble the arts of metal and smithing teach. The secret of a metal called iron, Jibble to Horon revealed. From its weapons Horon made. From loyal earthlings an army he raised. Now this is important. This is important. Let me tell y'all why. Because for the first time in human history, an earthling army has been raised. At no point before were the earthlings fighting each other. At no point before were the earthlings at war with each other at all. Okay? From the first time in history. This is 10,000 BC. We are in 9,000. Let me see where we at on the thing. We are in 9,000, let's say about 8,500 BC. Okay? 8,500 BCE. This is where we at, okay? We're going to be talking about the Battle of Jericho tomorrow because that's what we're getting ready to talk about. That first pyramid battle was actually the Battle of Jericho. I'm going to show y'all that tomorrow. I'm going to bring that up tomorrow, okay? That first pyramid battle that we about to get into was actually the battle. That was part of the... Jericho was a part of that battle. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So here we go. So for the first time, we got an army of earthlings being raised, and their leader is Horus. To challenge Satu in the Ijiji northward, across land and river, they marched. Across land and river, here we go. To challenge the Ijiji, let's look at the map. To challenge Satu in the Ijiji northward, across land and river, they marched. Okay, across land and river. So this is the Nile River. So of course they're going to be fighting somewhere in this region. And this is exactly where Jericho is located, in this region. Okay. To challenge Satu in the Ijiji northward across land and river, they marched. When Horus and his earthling army, the border of Tiamun, the land of the missiles, reached, exactly right there, Satu to Horus words of challenge sent. Okay? So here's where they meeting up at, right here in the Arabian Peninsula, in that area, in the Arabian Peninsula. They finna be a fight, finna be a battle. So when they get to that region, Satu sent words to Horus. He says, between us two alone is the conflict. Let us fight, or let us meet in a one-on-one contest, all right? So Satu say, Seth told Horus, let's keep the armies out of it. Let's go one-on-one. I want the friendly fade, nephew. Now, this is an uncle about to fight his nephew, about to go to war with his nephew. Between us two alone is the conflict. Let us one-on-one in a contest meet. All right? So listen, this is what I want to do. I want to stop right here. I want to stop right here before the battle happened, baby. Because they going to fight tomorrow. We going to get into it. The battle of Seth and Horus. The battle of Satan and the Son of God. All right, here we go. That's what it is. I swear to God, I would not lie to y'all. Hey, listen, man, if y'all know anybody out there that want to debate me on this information, please go get them. Please go get them. We're going to put a couple $1,000 on the line. I'm willing to debate anybody in this world on this information. It makes too much sense for it not to be true. It fills in all the holes left by religion and history. All right. So I don't know if y'all was able to take notes today, but today we dropped some good bombs in here, man. Hopefully you was able to take some notes and some stuff that you can go back and look over at another time. Because I will be testing y'all. I will be giving y'all a little testing at some point. So make sure you're taking notes, all right? But it has been a good class today, man. I've enjoyed myself with y'all. I've had a really great time. Big shout out to everybody that's been supporting throughout the live. If you got any questions about anything that we covered today, you know how we do it. Drop your questions down below, and I'll be more than happy to take your questions. Guys, I am now on Instagram, okay? Follow me on this Instagram page, at Chief Morpheus. I will be backing up different classes. I will be backing up mostly community talks. Most of my community talks will be here, okay? Now, for class, now I'm going to be honest with y'all. For class, a lot of the stuff I do for the class is going to be on YouTube, right? So if you got the YouTube, you're already good to go. But most of the community talks will be on this Instagram page. Now, this class tonight, it won't be available for upload till today is the 7th, Saturday. So if you miss today, on Saturday, you will be able to catch the recap of today. Okay? So I'll get that up as soon as possible. And as soon as I get it up, I will let everybody know that today's class, that what is this, Wednesday? That Wednesday's class should be available on YouTube by Saturday. All right? Because it takes some time to edit these videos. It takes a lot of time to edit it. All right? So y'all hit me up. Y'all go follow me on this Instagram page. Watch the videos. Leave commentary. Whatever your name is on Instagram, let me know. Like, hit me up and let me know, hey, Chief, this is such and such from TikTok. Because if you got a different name on Instagram than you do on TikTok, I want to know who you are, okay? So y'all hit me up right here. Or you can hit me up on the YouTube, either way, okay? All right, cool. Thank you, Yolanda. Shout out to everybody that showed some love, man. It's been a great class tonight. We had some good times. I'm going to see y'all in here tomorrow.